Japan's Environment Ministry began to collect seawater samples around the Fukushima Daiichi power plant. Kent Hashimoto files this report.
The Environment Ministry of Japan began to gather seawater samples around the Fukushima Daiichi power plant after releasing the radioactive water yesterday. With the collected seawater, Japan plans to examine the level of tritium. Tritium is a radioactive isotope of hydrogen that causes harmful effects to the human body. The plant operator TEPCO personally monitored the actual collections of seawater and expects the release of the results by next Friday. According to the Industry Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura, who inspected the utility sector, they will immediately release important details to the public for transparency after China suspends seafood imports from Japan after the release of contaminated wastewater. In addition, Nishimura also said the government of China immediately asked for the latest import restrictions in the trade ministers' meeting in the group of 20 countries that was held in India last Thursday. In order to continue its monitoring, the Environment Ministry sent sea vessels this Friday morning to collect seawater samples in locations 50 kilometers away from the Fukushima power plant. On the other hand, TEPCO plans to collect seawater 3 kilometers away from the plant for 1 month. 以上、橋本健と日本から報告いたしました。SM9 News Japan.
Fisher folks and civic groups in South Korea have promised to defend the marine environment as well as their own rights and interests until the end against the treated radioactive wastewater discharge plan of Japan. Kim Sung has the details.
Japan began releasing the nuke-polluted water from the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean on Thursday, despite international and local opposition. Meanwhile, Tokyo Electric Power Company, or TEPCO, the plant's operator, insists that it plans to carry out the first round of discharge over 17 days to dump 7,800 tons of radioactive wastewater. Meanwhile, CCTV Plus reports say that at one of the major aquatic markets with around 500 stalls in ancient South Korea, some customers are busy stockpiling seafood products amid fears of the wastewater discharge. However, more people have adopted a cautious attitude, and various seafood gift boxes in the said market, one of the best-selling products during the Mid-Autumn Festival, are not selling at all right now. The Mid-Autumn Festival originated from China and is celebrated by various countries, including South Korea. The said festival falls on September 29th this year. Many fish vendors and merchants expressed their worries due to the discharge plan. Both the price and sales volume of abalone fell sharply long before Japan finalized the discharge date, leaving many loan operators unable to make ends meet, and now there is no hope of any recovery. In Wando County in province of South Jeolla, South Korea, where abalone production accounts for more than 70% of the nation's total, the number of abalone farmers filing for bankruptcy has surged, and some operators are eager to sell their farms at half of the original price. Meanwhile, civic activists have gathered in front of the Japanese embassy in Seoul and the Japanese consulate general in Busan for 2 consecutive days and said their protests and demonstrations will only become more intense if Japan keeps processing the wastewater discharge plan. South Korea's National Federation of Fisheries Cooperatives is also working with Japanese peers to intervene in the ocean discharge while filing a lawsuit against TEPCO and seeking compensation from the government of Japan. Seoul, Kim Sang-imnida, SM9 News, South Korea.
Meanwhile, Australia expressed willingness to work more closely with the Philippines by increasing joint patrols in the South China Sea. Shina Selim reports.
Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles said Canberra plans to increase bilateral activities in the South China Sea as part of security efforts.
Marles made a statement on Friday as he observed military exercises with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. More than 2,000 Australian and Philippine defense personnel are participating in joint military drills near the contested territory, which involve amphibious landing and air assault drills. Dubbed Exercise Alon 2023, the military drills kicked off in Darwin, Australia on August 14 and ends on August 31, with some of the activities held in the Philippine waters. Exercise Alon marked first ever joint amphibious training between Australia and the Philippines. Meanwhile, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will visit the Philippines from September 7 to 8, 2023, making him the first sitting Prime Minister to visit the Southeast Asian country in 20 years.
Marles said Canberra wants to elevate the relationship with the Philippines to a strategic partnership, along with plans to hold more formal talks in Australia in 2024. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Shina Selim, SMNI News, Australia.